I made a video recently ranking every World of Light escape attempt, and while I was making that, I just threw in some quick speculation about how a couple other characters might have attempted to escape Galeem. And because a lot of you said you'd like to see that expanded on, and because that video did just stupidly well for reasons I don't understand and can't replicate. If that World of Light intro cutscene had been expanded, how would every single character try and escape? Now, I'm staying within the spirit of the original trailer here, which means, first off, no one's allowed to get away. Even though canonically there are definitely characters that should be able to escape even just within that handful we saw in the trailer. Nope, Kirby's the sole survivor, we're sticking to that. This also means the characters are often going to nod to their Smash counterparts, and not every character gets some big dramatic showcase of their abilities. I've worked some of those in along with some character interactions because that's the most fun part of all of this stuff. Hell, other Smash games and even other platform fighters figured that out way more than Smash Ultimate. But at the end of the day, we are trying to keep things as seamless with the original as possible. All right, let's get into it. I'm partnered with Into the AM because I was a customer first. They make my favorite shirts. Check out my links below or use code MockRock on their website for a discount on your next order. Starting off with Mario. Now, in that original video, I speculated about Mario maybe using his cape, his reflector move, but for Jumpman, I think his most appropriate escape attempt is actually a jump. Think a triple jump sequence dodging around beams. He manages to get past a couple, but of course, like with everyone on this list, he eventually gets snagged. I'm kind of tempted to have him end things by jumping off Yoshi's head, but you know what? That's probably a little cynical for modern Mario. As an alternative, just have their final jump be alongside each other, Yoshi doing his classic flutter jump. Now, for Donkey Kong, I like to think that he threw Diddy. We're not messing with characters who already appear in the initial trailer, but this is very in character for Donkey Kong, both in his home series and actually Brawl's Subspace Emissary mode, where he also sacrifices himself to save Diddy. So I think giving Diddy a boost for his rocket barrels is a great fit. Samus, of course, appears in the trailer, but Dark Samus doesn't. Now, Dark Samus is one of those super nebulous evil villains that would never actually be working alongside the heroes here. Metroid doesn't really have cuddly villains like Bowser, you know what I mean? This is an actual malevolent entity, but that's just what we're gonna have to do. Everyone is here means everyone. For Dark Samus, I think we're taking the trying to escape with a morph ball route. It's very distinctive and different from Samus while still showing off something iconic from the Metroid franchise, and while you could go with, say, trying to escape using a clone split, that's very similar in spirit to Lucario's double team. As for Fox, he's actually the first character we see appear in the trailer, but we never actually see him try and fight Galeem. I really like the idea of him and Wolf standing back to back trying to use their reflectors. It's an extremely iconic Smash move, and it's a really cool little brief team-up moment. Again, you can sort of argue that Zelda got there first, and when I can avoid that kind of overlap throughout this video, I'm gonna try to. I'm trying to put myself in the headspace of Sakurai storyboarding this, and I suspect that's probably what he would do, but in this case, it really does seem like the best fit. Luigi? Well, he's gonna cower in place, sorry. Yes, I know he gets some heroic moments in canon, but come on, it's definitely part of his character, even Smash thinks so. You know what, throw Isabelle in the cowering category too, she's gonna fit right alongside Villager. Now, don't get me wrong, I want the bloodthirsty Doom Guy sidekick as much as anyone, but it ain't canon, sorry. Ness is one that a lot of comments on the original video said could have escaped using teleport, and I disagree. See that video for why just being able to teleport is not good enough, but I like the spirit of it. He grabs Lucas by the wrist, they start running because in Earthbound you need a running start to teleport, and they're just starting to phase away when they get vaporized. Jigglypuff. She simply stands on a rock and sings, very Titanic-y. Peach and Daisy go out together, both of them standing with Toad in front of them, Red Toad arms spread wide to protect Peach, Blue Toad actively pushing Daisy backwards as she shakes her fist. As for the ice climbers, they encase themselves in ice. That one's pretty straightforward. As far as I'm aware, they can't canonically do that, but I mean, you know, welcome to the ice climbers in Smash. In their actual game, they don't honestly get up to all that much. So because Zelda is already in the cutscene, Sheik can't really be. One cool kind of alternate universe idea though would be for Zelda to throw a Deku Nut down, and then in a puff of smoke you see Sheik's silhouette emerge, and that one starts to dodge before getting evaporated. It's a little clunky though, and I do prefer the official one. For Dr. Mario, it's actually the same thing. He is just straight up Mario. His alternate universe thing again though should be using the Super Sheet, especially because in Ultimate it was given a new animation. Pichu could naturally be paired with Pikachu, obviously can't do that, so instead it tries to dodge using agility. It's up special. We're gonna make the Fire Emblem characters a little more manageable by taking Marth and also teaming him up with Lucina, Roy, Crom, and Robin. There would be a fun little sequence of them all trying to dodge and counter the beams, Roy with his sword on fire, Crom, Lucina, and Robin trading pair-ups. Maybe one of them goes for a very Smash-esque counter, but of course they wouldn't put up that much of a fight. Speaking of counters and pair-ups, Incineroar and King K. Rool both try to tank the blasts together, that makes sense. Another team up, we're taking Young Link and pairing him with Toon Link. I love the idea of Young Link donning his Deku Scrub mask and flying towards Galeem, he is a Triforce of Courage holder after all, right alongside Toon Link using his Deku Leaf and generating a gust of air behind them. They bob and weave around a couple beams and still don't make it that far, don't get me wrong, but man, that would be cool. Ganondorf, on the other hand, holds the Triforce of Power, so of course, he tries to punch the light. It doesn't work. And yes, there is actually precedent for this, by the way. That'd be an awesome pair up with Captain Falcon too, for the record, except again, can't do that. Mr. Game & Watch is a pretty intuitive one. He holds up his bucket, just like in Smash. To make the Smash anti-projectile moves thing feel a bit less repetitive, you could maybe pair that up with Fox and Wolf. The camera starts on them with their impressive high-tech reflectors, and as soon as they're taken out, it pans over, and you've just got this dinky little bucket. There are a couple good options for Meta Knight, but I really like the idea of him starting on the ground and doing a long shuttle loop-esque launch off, and then traveling actually alongside Falco's R-Wing, especially because he has a similar spaceship connotation. Zero Suit Samus is another alternate universe one. Well, you know what? If she's got the rocket heels, she might as well use them. I think it'd be awesome to have her propel herself backwards on her back in that classic spy slide pose while firing her paralyzer at Galeem. As for Wario, he tries to escape on his bike. That makes sense. You could easily tie that into the Captain Falcon sequence too. Captain Falcon gets wiped out and the camera just continues on, and you see that even if he had gotten to start driving, it wouldn't have mattered. Ike does not team up with other Fire Emblem characters. He fluidly dodges one beam while priming Ether, leaps high into the air with it, and gets taken out mid-jump. King Dedede, of course, goes for an Inhale. That might actually be fun to team up with Bowser and Charizard using their breath attacks. Pretty fun one for Olimar. He's another spaceship who tries to get away, except a beam clips him, and in the background of the next character, you see it crash into the earth before another beam takes it. Rob's gonna have an unorthodox team up with Kazuya. They both do their beam attacks, Kazuya in devil form, and try and do those big dramatic beam clashes, which of course fail spectacularly. But the beams would connect for just a moment. Mega Man has a world of options to pick from, but sticking to the spirit of the original trailer, he dodges one beam with his iconic slide, tries to put Leaf Shield in the path of a second one, and it gets him. Little Mac gets another dodge sequence. After all, that's the entire premise of Punch-Out. He narrowly slips past a couple of beams before getting caught. The Miis are also getting teamed up. This one took some thought to figure out exactly what they should be doing. I think a fun option is they're all trying to escape together as a human chain. Mii Gunner is trying to fly them all away using the rocket propulsion from her arm cannon. Mii Brawler is holding onto her waist, and then he's holding Mii Sword Fighter below them, who tries to reversal slash as a beam approaches. Pac-Man runs away in a panic, successfully dodging one beam by slipping into his mouth form before being taken out by a second. Bowser Jr. also tries to run away, slightly more successfully as he hunkers down scared in his clown cart. That could be a fun one to put alongside Wario. Ryu and Ken go together, of course. Ryu tries to parry one of the beams while Ken braces himself using a focus attack. It might be cool to try and squeeze in some of their more modern abilities, but again, we're sticking to the spirit of the trailer where they don't do that. Cloud gets to be one of the more elaborate ones, especially because he's also getting paired up with fellow JRPG protagonists Hero and Joker. Hero braces himself behind his shield while equipped with Bounce, and Joker wraps himself in Arsene's wings, and alongside them, Cloud summons Titan, who raises a massive rock wall. That's a genre-defining lineup right there. Which, of course, promptly gets eaten right through by Galeem's attacks. Corrin, I think, should use the dragon form to stand out a bit more. He turns into it and wraps himself in a torrent of magical water. Ridley, well, he's another flyer, of course, and I don't think there's really a whole lot more you can have him do himself, but to make things a bit more interesting, he would actually be really fun to pair up with Piranha Plant. Why not? Simon and Richter are another obvious pair up, but you know what? There's actually one more whip user on the roster now. I think it'd be fun to have all three of them whipping at the light beams. One comes through and takes out Simon and Byleth. Then Richter briefly tries to run away using his blade dash. Banjo and Kazooie have tons of techniques that you could pull from, but I think their basic run is already incredibly distinctive and fun. Kazooie would just drag Banjo along in a panic for a bit. That could be a fun Pac-Man pair-up, come to think of it. Terry, the final fighting game character, he's gonna flip over one beam with Crack Shoot before being taken out by a second. Min Min, actually, also maybe the final fighting game character. In any case, she does a big spring up with her arms. Steve gets to have another more elaborate one. He starts building a portal to the Nether, and he almost gets there too. The purple portal appears, he starts to run through it, and just as he's reaching in, zap. As for Pyra Mythra, we're pulling more from their Smash incarnation. They start out as Pyra, who barely dodges one beam. She switches to Mythra, who rapidly dashes away to dodge a second and is taken out by the third. You could do some kind of foresight thing, but Shulk already got there first. unfortunately. And then we're just left with Sora, who's another character with an enormous suite of powers to pull from. The thing is, by this point, we've used up an awful lot of creative space, right? He could try and do another slipping into an alternate dimension thing and gets caught just beforehand. He could do another big swooping fly away. But I think the idea that best justifies the premise of this video is if there was an Ultimate Deluxe on the Switch 2, say, and they expanded this intro cutscene out to cover all characters as kind of a bonus. All DLC included, all that good stuff. In which case, Sora being the final DLC character and a very climactic one, I think it would make sense for him to be the last character to get vaporized by Galeem. So rather than doing anything fancy, he simply floats above the fray, looks on in horror, sees Kirby just starting to pick up speed, does a little smile, gets vaporized, and then the camera moves on to, obviously, the one escapee. It gives him a bit more pathos, which I think is very fitting. And you know what? I think that'll do it. Very simple, fun, throwaway kind of video today. Not the kind of thing I usually make, and at this point, I'm very World of Lighted out. I still have no clue what happened with the last one, but it's been a nice little mini era. Thanks for watching, everyone. What did you think? There's no real right way to do a video like this, so by all means, share your thoughts on how different characters could have handled this. Likes and comments really help videos grow on YouTube, so if you think this deserved it, much appreciated. You can check out the first World of Light video here, a video on MockRock below, and patrons, members, and subs get perks like early videos and Discord access. Later, people.